This has been very enlightening so far. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate you being there.
Thank you. Many people desire things in their lives, whether they're certain successes or things to happen, like in the spiritual community. And often you hear by people who are very successful, they talk about, writing down your thoughts, your goals, what you want to have.
Yes.
And it's interesting, you said something about being in the present.
Yes.
Is the most important thing. Taking those goals and putting them in a present affirmation and saying them for over 21 days without any missing a day is very powerful.
That is one idea.
The question I have for you, what energy or vibration does that set forth to attract the things that you want in your life or to happen around you?
All right, thank you. This is very easily answered. And it even goes beyond the idea of affirmations, way beyond.
Okay.
In actual fact, to give you a little bit of a background on that idea, if you will actually discuss with many of those apparently successful people, as you call them, how they really created that state for themselves, it goes way beyond the idea of affirmations. Most of them, you will find, actually physically acted out the reality that they wanted to create. They made it very real, even physically. They literally went through the motions, acted it out, mocked it up. They created as close an approximation of the reality physically as they possibly could, and actually acted out as if it already existed. The affirmations go along with that, but here's the key. You understand that you create your reality by frequency? Yes, no?
Yes, I think so.
All
That's
right.
why I'm asking.
Do you understand that physical reality doesn't really exist empirically?
Yes.
That it's an illusion, it's just a reflection of the vibration you give off at any given moment?
I've heard that many times.
Do you understand that?
I think I do. I'm working on it.
All right, all right. You don't have to necessarily have a deep understanding to understand this analogy. The point simply is that what you put out is what you get back.
Definitely.
So, if you continue to vibrate the idea of a reality as if it will be your reality someday, where does that keep the reality?
In the future.
Thank you. So keeping it in the present actually crystallizes the frequency of that experience in the now, which is where you exist. So by acting it out, by knowing, by feeling, by affirming with thought, word, and deed, and every fiber of your being that you are already immersed in that vibration, you magnetize that reality much more quickly to be capable of crystallizing and manifesting around you in the present, rather than keeping it out there someday in the future. Right. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does.
Does that address your question specifically enough?
I think it confirms what I was thinking, and that's what was important to me.
Is there somewhere else you would like to take this?
Well,
some other specific way you would like to apply this?
Well, that was the question for myself, and I was also seeing as a group, the spiritual community. I was wondering the possibility if the spiritual community had a common, very powerful affirmation that they all said incorporated into their own affirmations that would bring forth very powerful ideas to build this community.
It is one thing you can suggest. At the same time, please do also recognize that the very fact that you're all coming together for the idea of spiritual cinema is already a singular affirmation.
Sure. Well, I was just thinking that if it was said, then the ideas, if you wouldn't shake your head, I appreciate that. Okay. The idea that each individual, in saying this, it would manifest the greatness of their individuality that would contribute to the whole part. Not that everyone's going to think the same thing or get the same idea. It's going to help them manifest their individual power or their creativity that's unique to them to contribute.
Making a declaration is a powerful thing. Making an affirmation, a vocal, out loud affirmation, is a powerful thing. I would take it and suggest one step beyond, actions speak louder than words.
Right.
So the doing of the thing, along with the saying, is what's really going to bring about the manifestation, especially if you really feel it. Because what you're doing by acting it out is you are training your body consciousness to get used to living in that actual physical reality.
Right.
Saying it is one thing, and it can be powerful for some people, but it may not work for all people. But certainly offer it and let it work for those for whom it does work. But we also would like to once again point out and reinforce that the idea of saying it, and more importantly, acting through it, is what will really anchor it into the body. Because many people on your planet have conflicting beliefs and definitions about the idea of the power of words.
Right.
It can be powerful for some. It can actually be counterproductive for others. Simply because you have belief systems on your planet that say, do not watch what they say, watch what they do. And so you give more importance to the idea of a person's actions many times more than what they say, because you know people on your planet are very capable of saying one thing and doing another.
Right.
So if the doing and the saying are not synchronized, then the saying may not be enough for some people, because they may doubt their own ability to believe just in the words. Until they themselves actually put those words into actions, they may not feel the synchronization key up or link up within themselves. But by all means, it is a suggestion and a powerful one, and can go hand in hand, to the best of your ability, with actually doing the things that need to be done to train your body consciousness to get used to the fact that that is your reality right here and right now, not someday.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more question.
Yes.
I've heard Emmanuel speak, and
Yes.
I've heard of Ramtha,
Yes.
and the energies that, or I'm not quite sure what or who they are.
Yes.
Are you of that same energy source?
No.
Okay. And
However, we all come through the same basic source or filter that is a collective consciousness representative of all the consciousness of your planet, in a sense, in order to gain, shall we say, permission to interact with all of you, to make sure that it is being done in an appropriate manner that is not in any way, shape, or form disempowering any of you, or taking over responsibility for any of you. So there will be a lot of similarity in some of the messages, but the styles and the sources to some degree may all be different, except of course to say that everyone goes back to the single source, and on that level we are all the same. Does that make sense?
yeah, that does. Thank you.
Understand that the idea of Ramtha is a disembodied consciousness. Even though my civilization is moving from physicality to non-physicality, I actually have a physical embodiment that you could perceive. This is now what you are experiencing, simply a telepathic link-up between myself and the channel, in that the channel has been trained to raise the pitch or frequency of his brainwaves to become something closer to the pitch or frequency of my own. And when they meet halfway, like two tuning forks keying off each other, then my thoughts translate automatically into the language the channel was raised to understand. I am not speaking your language, just sending telepathic thoughts that are being automatically translated by the biological radio sitting in the chair in front of you. You understand?
It's pretty wild.
If you say so.
Yeah.
But that is actually how first contact usually occurs.
Yeah.
Not over your actual physical radio devices. It comes from the idea of individuals choosing to be born on your planet and creating lives that imbue them with the ability to receive other consciousness transmissions when and where it becomes appropriate in that society to receive them. That is the way we usually make first contact. And through these sharings, we then get used to each other in such a manner that is not impinging upon your choices, forcing ourselves upon you in any way, shape, or form. You still have the choice to believe or disbelieve that I am who I say I am, and that is how it should be. For we do not want to force our reality upon you until you decide that our reality is something you would like to share, or that we can share a co-created reality together, which, as we perceive your collective energy, will occur most likely in the course of somewhere between 15 to 30 of your years from now, but not yet. This way now is the most efficient and unobtrusive way we have of communicating with other civilizations to begin initial contact. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who wants it next?